still leaving as they leave the studio now, and still chatting away. Welcome back. Coming up, big story about British spies. But first, that proper little madam.
And according to Mummy, I'm going to be a proper little madam.
Now, I'm not sure whether you caught it, but right at the end of the show last week, we took a call from someone claiming to be her. We had just 5 seconds to spare, so there was absolutely nothing we could do about it whilst we were on the air, but we kept her on the telephone and we spoke to her afterwards, and guess what? Wrong girl. But we found the right one, and here she is. She's Alison Raphael. Welcome to the programme. It's a great story, that, because unfortunately the lady who phoned in right at the very end of it, people all through the week have been saying, oh, why didn't you speak to her? Why didn't you speak to her? It's a good job we didn't, actually, because her mother, all the way through her life, has told her that she was the proper little madam. And it's now uncovered, this huge lie is uncovered on network television, that in fact she wasn't, that she phoned up thinking that she was. But it was you.
It was me,
Well,
yes.
how old were you?
I was 7, nearly 8.
And how much do you remember of it?
I don't remember a great deal. I know it took 2 days to film, but I was quite young.
What sort of reaction did your friends have at that time? Because you had a very odd voice. Did you like, have a voice like that for real?
No, I had elocution lessons.
Right. So what did your friends say?
They all thought it was a bit of fun, really.
Because kids can notoriously give each other a hard time. Give you a
Yeah,
hard
well,
time.
some did, some didn't. It was all right, though.
Did you turn out to be a proper little madam?
Yeah, of course.
Did you? I've got a whole list. I mean, she won't say it herself here because she's too modest, but she's been in House of Eliot and The Bill and in the theatre, As You Like It, The Admiral Crichton, Rocky Horror Show.
It's
And
a whole list there.
I mean, there's a massive, great load of stuff here. So it was the beginning of a brilliant acting career. But do you know where the others are?
No idea.
Okay,
Not gonna
thank
produce
you.
them.
Thanks for coming. No, I think that'll be a next quest. I think. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And let's see what happens with our proper little madam's brothers and sisters. Let's throw this one open. There were 3 of them. So we were slightly puzzled when 5 callers claimed to be the originals. Even more puzzling, the agent who originally booked the child actors for the commercial gave us another 3 entirely different names. Were some of you kidding us? Well, it's obvious that you were. I think it's own-up time. Will the real kids please stand up, or rather phone up and say hi? We would love to hear from you. Now then, let's take you back to the world of the 1940s and the 1950s and try a few names on you. Burgess, Philby, Maclean, Blunt. And they weren't Fulham's half-back line, they were traitors, a group of fanatics who popped out of the top drawer of British society and systematically sold this country down the river, under the noses and almost with the connivance of our own security services. When one of them, Kim Philby, came under suspicion, he didn't exactly crack under interrogation.
You were the third man. Were you, in fact, the third man?
No, I was not.
No, we can't say fairer than that. And then off he went for a touch more spying, followed by a comfortable retirement in Moscow. Makes you want to weep, doesn't it? But here's Kate O'Mara, together with the author of A Spy's London, Ray Barclay, with an offbeat look at the spies and their secret meeting places right here in the heart of London.
St. Ermin's Hotel in St. James's. The perfect setting, it would seem, for a tale of espionage. Thank you. Low lighting, an enigmatic waiter. The ideal place to enjoy a secret meeting over a cocktail. According to Roy Berkeley, this is where Kim Philby began his insidious infiltration into Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Because MI6 headquarters was just around the corner at 54 Broadway, MI6 frequently used this place to interview prospective employees. Philby, for example, was run through his paces twice here over drinks and lunch before being admitted to MI6.
But could such a busy hotel really have harbored such a dark secret? Roy Atkin has been the chief engineer at the hotel for 11 years. Maybe he knows something.
The hotel was used during the war by the Allied intelligence people. And there's supposed to be a tunnel that leads from the hotel directly to the war rooms.
Do you know where that is?
It's supposed to be behind the central door on the circular staircase in the main lounge. At the moment, there is a false floor in there, timber floor, and underneath there is suspected a staircase which leads down to our back wall, which is also the wall of the St. James's Park tube station.
It is also rumoured that MI6 had control of the 5th and 6th floors where they trained their special officers. This is the staff lift, exactly as it would have been in Philby's day, with one vital exception. In those days, The lift buttons would only have indicated 4 floors. MI6 fitted a false panel over the top 2 buttons, thus rendering the 5th and 6th floors virtually invisible, leaving them free to come and go as they pleased up the back stairs. 2 strangers meet in a bar, get into an inconspicuous black cab and travel through central London. A curiously apt beginning to our tour around some of the places Philby is known to have frequented. Rosary Gardens. So what happened here?
Well, at one time it was the Soviet consulate. In fact, that's where Philby is reputed to have been recruited to Soviet intelligence work.
Well, it looks fairly innocuous.
Oh yes, they just publish a magazine there about Russia nowadays. But notice the TV camera over the doorway, and I'll bet you the basement has a superb darkroom.
An elegant Chelsea house. Surely nothing sinister could have gone on here. Or could it? Philby moved here in 1944 with his wife, his children, and his 2 dogs, called, appropriately enough, MI5 and MI6.
When the Philbys first moved in, it was generally believed that his wife's family had paid for the house. But later, Malcolm Muggeridge pointed out that it was almost certain that the Russians paid for the house.
Well, it looks very expensive.
Yes, and to make sure that no one suspected where Philby's backing came from, they let out the top floor to a lodger, and Philby's wife ran a day nursery on the ground floor.
We know that this building society used to be the Markham Arms, Philby's local when he lived in Chelsea. So what sort of thing would have happened here, Roy?
For example, this is the place where Philby and Blunt met in 1954, 3 years after Burgess and McLean defected. Blunt gave him instructions on when and where to meet his Soviet case officer. The case officer then gave Philby £5,000 in cash and as much encouragement as their hurried street meeting would permit.
Eventually, MI5 became suspicious, and in 1951 they brought Philby to this building for interrogation. But he convinced them he was innocent and kept his top MI6 job. And this is where we need your help. Roy is looking for another location, the last place where Philby was known to have been interrogated.
But MI5 was still convinced that Philby was a double agent, and because of that, they influenced MI6 to take him to a secret location, a safe house that was wired for sound, where he was interrogated. His answers were accepted uncritically, and he was pronounced an honest and upright man. 8 years later, Philby defected to the Soviet Union, leaving MI6 with egg all over its face.
Neither Roy nor I have any idea where that safe house may be, but we have had some information. Apparently, the man in the trench coat may know something.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Roy Barclay. And thanks to that man in the trench coat who turned out to be a government junior minister on his way to a secret assignation and no use to us whatsoever. So let's take another look at Roy's special quest. Where is that safe house where Philby met MI6? It's somewhere near Sloane Square, but where? 0900 200 600. Too late to stop our secrets being sold to the Soviet Union? Much good it did them anyway. Now then, I do believe it's time to wrap up. Let's get over here to the telephones and give you an update on what's been going on this evening. EVP, right, many interesting calls. Claire from Norwich has had a similar experience of EVP. Thank you very much. Recently departed loved one left a message on a tape. She was blanking, and the tape is apparently on its way to us. Missing persons update, Mina Cook. A call has come in from 2 girls who know her. They saw her in Croydon a week ago. Mary Garrity, several calls, unconfirmed sightings in Birmingham and Manchester. Lines are very busy. If you can't get through straight away, then our lines are open until 10 o'clock. So if you do get an engaged tone and you can't get through, then please try again. As I said, you know, we need a little bit of patience. Teggy, fisherman, called to say he and 2 friends saw a seal-like creature. 50, well, that's not quite so special, is it? But have you seen a monster? 50 yards offshore at Lake Bala in 1971. Peter Baldwin has phoned in. Sheila Pendleton has found the original Pelcham Puppet Theatre. Very original with all its props. Now, Peter's gone, hasn't he? So unfortunately we can't drag him in for that, but he'll be in his car on the way home. I'm sure when he finds out about that, he'll be leaping happily. Surfers against sewage. Many cases of severe illness following surfing have come in, including meningitis, septicemia, mycoplasma pneumonia. We've passed all your reports onto the SAS, which will, that's the Surfers Against Sewage, greatly strengthen their case when they take it to the EC, thank you, at the end of October. And on the subject of Surfers Against Sewage, we also asked to hear about the coldest conditions that anyone had surfed in. Nick Priddle rang to say he has surfed in a hailstorm and sea temperatures of 7 degrees. Must be out of your mind. And what's this? We've got another one here. Martin Parker from Paynton understood he's a descendant of Hannah Lightfoot. Aha! Great-great-grandmother was daughter of Hannah Lightfoot's son. Has no documentation to prove it, though. The story has been passed down orally, although we will be checking it out. If you've got any information, of course, on Hannah Lightfoot, we would love to sort that one out. Still looking for Jolson's gloves. If you've got those, you missed last week's programme, got any original Al Jolson gloves, we'd love some of those. Who piloted those 3 helicopters? We'd love to know who they were. And, of course, our phone lines will stay open until 10 o'clock. If you've got any information, do call. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.